guys, TSB back at it again. Welcome to another review. Today we are going to take a look at Furi. Furi is a twin-stick boss rush game that was both developed and published by the game makers on the 5th of July 2016. Now I'm recording this on the 29th of October 2017. The game version on the review is 1.4.94. It came out this month. So as you can see, the developers are still actively updating the game itself. Full disclosure, I got the game in the October Humble Monthly for the year of 2017, of course, and I pay $12 for the subscription. The game itself retails for 20 whatevers on Steam, and the soundtrack is available for 15 whatevers on Steam as well. So now with all of the boring stuff out of the way, let's get to the review proper. The first thing anyone will tell you about Furi is that it's not an easy game, and I would definitely agree with that statement, as I find Furi a very fair but rather difficult game. The game has 3 difficulties available, from which only the middle, the Furi difficulty, which is recommended by the developers, will be available at the start of the game. As you get your first game over screen, easier difficulty setting, called Promenade, will be made available to you. You can choose to select this difficulty level at any time, but I do applaud the developers for not only including it, but first showing you that, hey, this is how the game is supposed to work, and if you find it real taxing, then you can switch to a lower difficulty setting and you can still experience what the game has to offer. There is one harder difficulty level, and that's called Furier. This difficulty level will become available after you beat the game for the first time. Personally, I beat the game on the Furi difficulty level, and I started another playthrough on the same difficulty level just to grab the footage here so that I don't fail too much for you guys. And I tried also to start a game on the Furier difficulty level just to see how it goes, and it definitely gets more difficult, but again it stays very fair. Furi stands on 3 very strong legs. The first one is the moment-to-moment gameplay. The second one is an astounding, adrenaline-pumping soundtrack. And the third one is an epic story. There are essentially 2 flavors to the moment-to-moment gameplay. First is ranged combat, and the second one is the close-range melee combat. The opponents themselves have several stages you need to beat in order to beat the opponent and to go to the next opponent. The routine of the opponent changes within each given stage, and the game itself is really about you trying to learn, okay, what kind of moves does the opponent have, what are the counters to these moves, and trying to have that muscle memory to defeat what you see. And the further you go, each opponent has something new but brings in familiar things to the mix, so you kind of have an idea of how you would go about countering certain things. It's just about learning some new ways with the slight variations, with the combinations of what they are throwing at you. And by the end, you would be really amazed that, holy smokes, I was able to do this, when, you know, at the beginning you really had problems with just doing the basic blocks and whatnot. For most of the opponents, you would have to take their health down twice per given stage. The first part of this is a general combat within the arena, and the second one is a much more intimate close range encounter. Now this is not true for all of the opponents, but this is generally true for most of what you meet. And I really need to point 2 of the opponents out. First is the Burst, and the second one is the Edge. The Burst specializes in ranged combat, and the Edge in melee combat, and those were amazing encounters, really the strongest, in my opinion, winning the entire game. Second thing is the music. You would have to hear it to believe it, so I'm going to do that right now. Just listen to this is only the tutorial, and it only gets more epic from this point on.
Come back here. I will take you down.
You can feel from the music that it is meant not only to keep you at, you know, your very best, your very fastest at all times, but it also encourages you. It also tells you not to give up, to just fight on, and tells you that you can beat your opponent. Just hang on there. Not only is the music excellently selected, but also the sound effects and the sound design crew did an excellent job with all the sound cues. And I think honestly you can play this game probably blindfolded. Some of the stages would be a little bit tricky, but most of the moment-to-moment gameplay would be achievable, I think, only with what the audio gives you. And the third thing, the story. The story is just so epic. That's the only one word I can use. Honestly, the last time I felt this way about how a video game ended was back with Mass Effect 1, and that was way back, like 2008, 2009. The heroism, the self-sacrifice, the stakes, everything just perfectly matched up and culminates in a great ending. Honestly, I was floored. I mean, when I think about back to the last few minutes, like jaws on the floor and a little teared up. Excellent job, guys. Obviously, I won't spoil anything here. Just, I would encourage you to keep your ears open and your brain working. Because going back and just taking a look at the footage, of course I recorded the entirety of the game, so I could go back and just listen to what all the actors had to say. Everything ties up pretty neatly, and there was a reason behind every spoken sentence. So most of your opponents provide you with a little like clues to what you are, what your place within the given universe is, because, you know, like, you start at a really dark place. You start locked up, chained up, and this narrator figure frees you up. That's the first thing you see in the game. And this narrator will follow you along and provide you some further backstory about what's been going on in the general game world. Think like Bastion, but with darker undertones. And as I said, like, I cannot stress how much I enjoy the experience itself. But now, gushing about that, let's get to some of the other notes I have written down. So the graphical fidelity itself, it's not very high as from the footage you can see right here, but the way the world is stylized just adds all the soul the game needs. And this is exactly what people mean when they don't want these ludicrous development budgets and photorealism and high poly count and whatnot. Just give us this. This is perfect. This serves exactly what is needed. And the stylization itself provides much more soul to the game than any graphical fidelity would be able to. How the actors convey the perfect blend of speed and elegance, just this intensity that's within the world, just provided by how the things are made to look, how the things are made to feel. And you can go back all the way to the beginning of the game. The first two or three stages of the first boss are what's really the tutorial, where you have the prompts and where the boss's reactions are quite slow, where it gives you ample time to really, you know, soak in. Just take a look at how everything looks at that scene, how everything moves in that scene. That's enough to convey what this game will be about, and every different arena you will go in will have its own spirit, will have its own soul, and it's just breathtaking. So just to round out the review, there are 10 opponents overall in the game, and my part time was 9 hours, 55 minutes and 53 seconds, for which I earned a D. I got 272 KOs, that's again a D, and I was hit 2,628 times for another D, and that's an overall D rating, obviously. And after you beat the game, you get the Furi difficulty. Played around a little bit with that. The skill ceiling is definitely high for this game, so if you like these type of games, there is certainly much more than 10 hours worth of content for you here. So I would safely bet that to get all the achievements and to really push yourself to get an A or an S rank in this game, there is easily like 30 to 40 to maybe 50 hours here. Personally, I don't know whether I would be able to go through the same story twice, because it was really something the first time, so I might go through it one more time, just for the sake of it, but yeah, I'm glad I have everything recorded, so, you know, I can just run the footage I have recorded, and this is one of those games where I won't delete footage from this, definitely. One more thing, I just realized that I didn't tell you about. When the game rolls the credits on you, just open your eyes, think about what you are seeing, use your brain, use everything that you have heard up to this point, and that's all I'm going to tell you about that. So would I recommend Furi? I mean, honestly, if you've been paying attention to this point, I definitely wholeheartedly recommend Furi to everyone and anyone who is capable of playing video games. This is one that you will have to do. And for the price, get the soundtrack. You will thank me later. Soundtrack is awesome with the base price of the game. You can get a bundle for, it was like 26 whatever or something like that. I'm not entirely certain, but there is a decent drop in price, and if you can get it in a sale or whatnot, this is a steal. I mean, for me, I got it in a humble monthly. That's still ×2. But I did buy the OST after the fact, and then the DLC, so the one DLC that is available. I won't really talk about the DLC, I didn't really have a chance to take a look at it. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed the review of Furi. So you guys know the drill, like, subscribe, hit me up on Twitter, whatever you feel is necessary. This is TSB, signing out. Bye.